The various soil sensors, going to being able to do fleet management opportunity solutions. One of the interesting projects that I've actually worked on was a connected refrigeration unit on large vessels. So what we do is actually take the, let's say in the jungles, take bananas and put them in a refrigerated container. That refrigeration unit would be monitored. The set point of that would be monitored. They put it on a truck, they drive it to the port, it would sit there for a while. You actually get loaded onto a vessel. The vessel would actually take that that refrigerated container and it would go out to sea. And then we'd actually have it, we put a satellite network on the vessel so that container can be actually monitored and remotely managed. So if there was something wrong with that, a technician sitting in Europe somewhere would be able to dial into that refrigerated container anywhere on the globe. And then once it arrived in the port, it would be offloaded and set down. So very interesting technology challenges in that you have these containers 5 and 6 levels high stacked up on top of each other. We actually used a mesh network to tie all of those together. Plus each unit actually had a cellular radio, so once you drove into the port, it would be able to upload all of its logging data as well as its location. It'd actually be able to go in and process the government paperwork that it would have to do once it reaches it. All of that was essentially automated through a sensing solution. So in terms of there was a recent article that Gartner did. They went out and surveyed about 460 companies, and they said that over 60% of them gave the indication that they thought that their business would be changed in a very fundamental and sustained way. So if you think about that 60% of the businesses out there, you think of all the manufacturing companies, all the product companies that we have here located in Northeast Ohio, being able to modernize and move towards this new world of industrial internet is going to be a key part of the future. So I'm very excited about this event today. So one of the things I thought I would actually put up is, and we saw this shown in some of the other earlier slides today, was a solutions framework. And this is kind of, I talked about making it simple. The idea of starting with, a lot of people focus on the connected asset out on the left part of the diagram here. But what actually has to happen is that data has to be delivered securely across the network. It has to be managed in terms of having provisioning platforms that can manage that service, be able to run diagnostics on it when things go wrong. So there has to be this service delivery platform that actually manages all that connectivity. You also have what I see in the marketplace is lots of a very fractionalized market. Of any IT industry I've been involved with, I've worked for Sun and Oracle and and worked with adopting many new technologies. But of all the industries I've ever worked with, the IoT industry is probably the most highly fractionalized. You have many device manufacturers, many chip manufacturers, module manufacturers. The iterations and the combinations are daunting. And there are about 15 to 20 different application platforms out there, and each of them attempting to bring together devices and be able to connect them onto the network. So what we're seeing is we're actually working with a lot of companies like Intel and IBM and a lot of the companies that have developed these platforms. We're working with them to use open standards and develop standards so that these things can interoperate with. So that the idea of that God's eye, where you have all these connected devices throughout the world, that vision is actually possible through connecting these various platforms. So big data analytics, obviously a huge part of this as well, being able to manage mountains and mountains of data and process it. So I thought lastly I'd just bring up a couple use cases of customers that we're working with. Remote patient monitoring. This is a very hot area today, bringing many patient devices. And the common theme here is that many companies are taking those sensors or those devices and then connecting them to some type of tablet or device and then putting that information out onto into the cloud, and then being able to do things like video conferencing or monitoring that data for these patients on a regular basis. One of the projects that we also worked on was a medical cabinet where you actually store medications at a hospital. And this is a critical asset. If you can't dispense medications at a hospital, you're kind of out of business. So this device actually has an operating system. What Emerson Metro can do is dial into these devices, be able to automatically update software as it's needed. If there's any kinds of issues or problems, those things are noted. Notifications are sent out. It has someone to come out and repair them. So many companies are looking at similar models to this, especially in the healthcare industry. Another product, this is just an example of the difference between an industrial kitchen device. If you would want to actually send this out to a restaurant and then be able to reprogram the menu that's being able to be the things that you're cooking on this engine, it would actually take them about 6 months to roll out updates to all of these devices around in a fast food market chain. Instead of that, now they can actually connected those, and within 5 minutes they can actually put a new menu item and new information out to one of these. So you can just see the difference in the fundamental change, and this is what I was talking about earlier about companies fundamentally changing and seeing how their business is going to change. That type of connectivity, of a connected product versus a non-connected product. So last, AT&T is, historically has been invested in things like the Unix operating system and C and many of the fundamental technologies along the way, including the infrastructure investments that we're making. We're also investing in these foundry labs, and we have several of them. One of them is in Atlanta, and it focuses on the connected car. So we're working closely with GM to put LTE connectivity into all of their vehicles, and they're starting now to roll out as of this model year. And there was an article recently that the CFO of GM said that over the next 3 years, his business was going to be impacted, that they're going to sustain $350 million more in profits because of the use of a connected LTE car and putting that into the marketplace. I thought that was quite an interesting point in how that new revenue streams as well as efficiencies gained to their business was going to impact them. We also have a connected home in Atlanta where we were actually building the home of the future, bringing a lot of these devices in. We're actually combining the connected home and the connected car so that those things are actually integrated, and you can, when you're in your vehicle, be able to do associated applications where, if I drive into my driveway, my lights will come on and it'll be able to sense all of those kinds of things. We also have an industrial IoT foundry lab. That's what this is a picture of in Plano, Texas. So we've had many customers down there. We help them build, this is a case of a prototype where we've taken a temperature changer, and within 1 day they were actually able to hook up components into the Modbus of this thing, be able to put that out into a cloud-based service that we have called M2X. And they were able to use some open source technologies, NoSQL databases, be able to flow that data in there. And they actually, that little box there on the side, they actually built that, use a 3D printer to build that out, put some off-the-shelf components into that. It really shows you how quickly you can build these solutions. But we're working with customers to figure out how do you make that secure, how do you make that scalable, and we developed some technologies to do that. So I appreciate your time today, and I look forward to maybe possibly having some questions as we go.